All right, thanks everyone for joining us. I'm excited here. We have another Lunch and Learn edition from Relax Teams. We have one of Team Central Jersey's participants with Desirae, and she's brought us some wonderful guests who are gonna, I'm not gonna steal any of their thunder, but they're gonna talk about the value of having a human answer your phone. So I'll leave it there. Desirae, you wanna take it away, and I'll come back at the end and answer any questions anyone has. If you have questions, please just put them into the chat box, and I'll be asking those questions at the end. Thank you.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Desirae Haluk. I'm the founder and CEO of Clarence Services, which is a marketing agency for startups and small businesses. And I first want to thank everyone for being here today, and also to Dennis for organizing this event through Relax Teams. Today I'm here with Ian Tempro, who is the head of special programs, and Steven Samuels, the CEO and owner of InstaAnswer, a virtual receptionist service. So they'll be explaining to you the benefits of having a virtual receptionist on your team to help you cut costs and increase revenue today. So first we'll start by asking them a few questions. And how they help their clients out. They'll tell us about a case study, and then we will open it up to questions from the listeners and ask about your own industry experiences and how a virtual receptionist can help you out. So thank you, Ian and Steve, for being here.
Good morning.
Thanks for having us.
And so, Steve, first of all, what exactly is a virtual receptionist? Just for those listeners who aren't quite sure what it is.
Sure, good question. A virtual receptionist is a professional. When you have a virtual receptionist, what you're going to be getting is a professional person with a smile in their voice who's able to assist somebody on the phone for basic information. So if somebody needs help, answering the phones just to find out if they're looking for someone in the office, or they're looking in reference to a sales call, or they're looking for technical support, or they're just asking a basic question, we can act as that receptionist for basic information. Other people use a virtual receptionist when their business is closed for after-hour dispatching. So they might have a need of where they have service calls after hours. Like, for example, a plumber or electrician or an elevator company or an oil company might have a lot of emergency dispatch after hours, and we do that as a virtual receptionist. Another reason why people use virtual receptionists is just during the day. They want to have backup. They want to have somebody if they decide to go out to the bank or the post office, or in this pandemic situation or weather-related stuff, you could have a backup receptionist to be able to answer your calls and act as your receptionist. So all of this happens 24/7. So we're able to act as your receptionist and be very flexible. We're operating 24/7, 7 days a week. And this is really, a virtual receptionist is like having, a receptionist on demand when you need it. So that's really what a virtual receptionist is. Okay. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, absolutely. And so tell us a little bit about InstaAnswer.
Sure. So InstaAnswer is a second generation company. We've been around for like 50 years. I was a very fortunate young man. My mom started this business in our home in Port Chester, New York. And back in its early days, it was a very simple business. I don't know if you remember some of those old movies where you see like actual switchboards where operators would actually answer a phone by putting a plug into a board. So, in reality, what you'd have is 4 different operators set up straight in a line with their own cord board. And they would the phone would ring and they would put a plug in, they would write down the message, and they would put it in a cubby hole, and everyone would have their own cubby hole. And all of the operators, each operator would be responsible between 50 to 100 clients, and they would be their virtual receptionist back then. And they would call in for the messages, and we would give them out verbally. And that's how it worked. Fast forward to 1980, and probably Judge Green broke up the AT&T phone company, and that was a big, big milestone in our business. So when AT&T phone company was broken up, that's when things changed. That's when like computers and telephone systems got all integrated. And that's when we were able to have an ability called call forwarding. So you can get away from using switchboards and people can call forward their phones to us. And with that, they came out with their first generation of telephony computers into big mainframe computers. So we all had these huge mainframe computers in our office. And now we can be able to take phone calls, type them in, have distributed phone calls. So we were able to use all the functionality of computers, of mainframe computers, and typing in messages. And it was wonderful. Then Windows came out in the late 90s, came very popular, and Lantastic networks came out, and Novell networks came out, and we went right along with technology, and it went great. Well, fast forward to, maybe 10 years ago, boy, the cloud came into effect, and now we can utilize all the features and benefits of the big companies of IBM's and Microsoft. So we now can take advantage of technology of just like any other major corporation. So we're able to, utilize great tools from Amazon and Microsoft and many, many other cloud companies. So we really are a cloud-based company. All of our technology, we can utilize, and it's fantastic. It really is. With all this technology, at the end of the day, cloud technology makes it so great now, and our technology is so fantastic, we can really focus in on our amazing staff. And that's, that's our history. That's really focusing on our staff.
Awesome. So you've been there through the entire evolution, really, of
Yeah.
telecommunications.
It's amazing. Going back when I was, in high school or junior high school, and I come in and, see my mom working, and, it still comes down to, training really good people.
Yes.
And knowing how to hire people, and knowing how to treat people well, and knowing how to keep a really good environment, and making people who want to work in this wonderful team. And that's really what it's all about. I mean, yes, we have all these great technologies, but really what it's all about is my fantastic team. And, I can give a lot of credit to, you'll hear from Ian Tempro, who's just led up a fantastic, fantastic team here. And without that team, I'm nowhere. They are just outstanding. And that's what I love about my people.
And one thing about retaining, employees and team members, it's not only good for your business, it's also good for your clients because they get more experience, they got more skin in the game and they know what they're doing.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I couldn't agree with that more. I couldn't agree with that more. And that's what I spend my day doing. I focus in on my people. I really want to know how could I recognize talent? How can I, keep people happy? How can people be recognized? And that's really what it's about. Yes, do I focus it on bringing in business and we're going in the right direction and all that other good stuff? But really, it's all about the people. It's all about my fantastic people.
That's awesome. So now, can you explain to the listeners the benefits of having a virtual receptionist versus having a staff member answer their calls, or at least, or even having both, right, in conjunction with?
Yeah, sure. The difference, the difference is, I mean, maybe Ian, you want to.
Sure, I can certainly take this one. So, it's all about availability. It's all about the ability to scale. It's all about the having access to things that, depending on the size of your business, just may not be in your wheelhouse. If you're not in the answering service business, answering your phones are not necessarily your specialty, right? And, folks may think, well, it's just picking up a phone, but let's be honest with ourselves. Most teams, when they have someone in the office doing some sort of front office work or forward facing to the customer, they're always doing a myriad of other tasks as well, right? And that means that there's not necessarily a focus on one particular task or priorities laid to a particular task or specifically to answering the phones. So having a team there who has the information about your business, can answer simple questions, can answer even more complex questions depending on what information that you relay. Having a friendly professional voice that can do that while you or other members of your team focus on what the core of your business is huge. And as you become more successful in your business, as your business grows, having the ability to scale up, being able to add more agents, being able to add more capability without actually having to worry about things like, where am I going to put them, right? In terms of real estate or space in the office, or how much is this computer upgrade going to cost me? What are the requirements of building out a new phone system? Things like that are things that go away completely when you're able to, for lack of a better term, outsource you're answering your phones. And you can also do all of that while improving your level of customer service, because again, the focus is there. We focus on answering the phones for you. You can focus on getting the job done. At the end of the day, there's a happy customer. If there's someone to answer quickly, smile in their voice, be professional, and then you're able to follow through on the execution of whatever work there needs to be done. That's a win-win customer service wise.
Sure.
And that's something that's much more difficult to do when you have a growing staff in the office, a busy staff where that phone may ring 4, 5, 6 additional times than normally, or it may not get answered. It depends. If you're a single proprietor, and say you're a handy person or something like that, and you're going out, you may have your hands in the middle of something. You can be an electrician, you could be taking care of wiring, and you miss that call. But that call could be your next client, your next opportunity. And you don't have to worry about that if you have a virtual receptionist. We don't have to take every call, just the calls that you're not able to.
Awesome. And then, so how about the cost differences, like between, having a staff member on site and having a virtual receptionist? I mean, I can imagine you don't have to worry about a full salary, benefits, bonus, all of that kind of stuff. So talk a little bit about that.
Right. So as Steve mentioned, this really comes up to being on-demand staffing when it comes to answering your phones or doing basic customer service work. And so you're really paying for what you use, no more, no less. And we've talked about the fact that you can start on as little as $3 a day, depending on how many minutes you need or how much time of virtual receptionist you need. But you're not worried about, again, the cost of equipment. You're not worried about the cost of building out an office. You're not worried about bringing on another person full-time or part-time, whether there are benefits that come with that. There are a whole host of other implications that just move away. And, we found that to be a really compelling argument to moving forward with something like this. And also it expands your availability as a business. You're not having to hire folks to work later on in the evening. You're not having to hire folks to work on weekends and holidays, especially if you're in the service industry, where again, you may be in a trade where you're looking at either repair or deliveries and things like that, where people are expecting you to be available. Having a virtual receptionist there that sounds great every time is huge.
Awesome. And so remind the listeners about the technology piece and like the software, hardware updates that your clients really never have to worry about, right? But you guys are always on top of it.
Sure. So as Steve mentioned, as he went through a history of both the telephone companies and Insta-Answer as an organization. Now with the advent of the cloud and that playing a bigger role in many businesses, it allows smaller boutique shops like ourselves to be able to have access to the best technology out there. We don't have to go out, and just as I'm saying to the average listener that you don't have to go out and hire 5 people to cover 12 or 13 hours of service or 24 hours of service. We don't have to go out and purchase racks and racks and servers to be able to serve our customers. We can go out there and our systems are modular and scalable, and we can pluck the best technology technology. We'll use Amazon's technology. We'll use Microsoft's cloud technology. We'll use Google's cloud technology. The way that we route phones, some of the specificities that you can add to how your phones are answered, what particular type of hold music you like, what sort of promotional messages that you'd want on there, or do you just want a live person? All of these things are being constantly updated. The ability for a call to follow you from your office to your cell phone, and if you still aren't able to answer, then to your virtual receptionist. Those things, they just weren't around 10 years ago, and if they were cost prohibitive. Now those things can all be combined into one service, and so the savings are immense. But the truth is just we are constantly building and updating our capabilities, because that's how we serve our clients best. And any of our clients gets to benefit from that for the same low price.
Awesome. So Steve, how does Instant Answer differentiate itself from competitors?
You know, the way we differentiate ourselves, it's really simple. It's my experience in this industry, growing up in this industry. You know, I know what it's like from back in the late 70s, what it was like, you know, walking into the shop saying, oh my God, what's it like to staff a graveyard shift, the overnight shift, or what's it like to just to give good customer service, what all the positive and negative things that went on over the last many years. All those experiences I had, all those experiences, from doing it from switchboards to mainframes to cloud technology now, all those experiences, by me making, you know, definitely a lot of positive, you know, things for my business, but also I've made mistakes. All those experiences have made this Instant Answer into an incredible company. And that's really what makes a difference. And my experience, you know, in the call center industry, growing up in it, that's what makes the difference. And that's why we can give great service. And the reality is I surrounded myself with great people like Ian to head up my company, to not do spectacular things. And that really resulted in just, you know, our company growing from referrals. That's really what happened.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have to thank, you know, Ian, who just, you know, led this organization to do great things. And he really, and he started with the people. That's really what he did. He started with the people. I mean, technology, very important, but it's our people that make us different than our competition, and my experiences and Ian's experiences.
And Desirae, if I can add to that, you know, for anyone who would be interested in a virtual receptionist or using our services, the fact of the matter is that we take all of that experience that we have, and we're constantly refining our product. And our product is a combination of our people and our capabilities. Mm-hmm. And using that experience, what has worked for clients in the past, what has worked for clients in your industry, what works for a plumber, what works for an electrician, what works for an elevator company, what works for an energy company, large and small. We have all of that knowledge. We have all of that data because we have several hundred clients that use our services, all of different disciplines. So we're able to say and offer suggestions about what works and what does not work. We've seen how things can play out depending on what type of services. It may be something as simple as a client coming to us and saying, listen, I want to offer 24/7 service because that's going to be my differentiator for when I go out there and I'm looking for clients. And we may come back with a suggestion that says, you know, looking at your industry, the data tells us that in truth, most of your calls are going to be between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. Mm-hmm. Why not look at a package that gives you that amount of time versus covering 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. as well, where that economically that may just not serve you. Are you really committed to getting up and taking that call at 4 a.m. Sure. and going out to a particular customer? And many times the answer is yes. And that's okay. As a matter of fact, we encourage that because we're there for you. But if the answer is no, then really let's help you tailor something that works more to your strengths versus creating a blanket coverage, which while there might be some benefit to us as an organization financially, may not necessarily serve the customer.
So you can customize for each industry, which is nice.
Yes,
That's
very
awesome.
much.
You have the data to back that up.
Very much so.
That's
And we
awesome.
ask our clients, which we call partners, to draw on that knowledge. Ask us questions. Ask us about what is generally done. We're not going to share with you specifically what your next door neighbor competition is doing for their services, but we can tell you what generally works and what does not work and what we have seen. And
Sure.
that has led us into whole other avenues of the types of services that we offer, to where, again, we're scaling from a single person shop all the way up to us having clients that have thousands of employees.
Awesome. So that kind of brings me to the next question. Do you have a case study to share so you can share with us some, just some data or, points about some current clients that you have or past clients?
Sure. So I would say let's think about scale. We had one partner who a few winters ago here in the Northeast was particularly harsh. I would say maybe 3 winters ago. We had really, really tough winter. Towards the end of the year to the beginning of the very next year, we may have had maybe 3 snowstorms in the space of 2 weeks or so. And roads were shut down and so on. And this partner was in the service industry where they were delivering a specific product. And with roads shut down, deliveries were curtailed for both the safety of the customers, but also the safety of the folks who were doing the deliveries. As such, they were presented with a customer service problem. Demand for their product was through the roof. Supply of their product was not necessarily an issue, but the transportation of their product from one place to the other was. This created a tremendous amount of volume to their customer service contact center. And on top of that, with the roads being closed, even their employees had trouble getting in. So their call center agents were just not able to get to work on time. Sometimes there were 3 and 4 hour delays and so on. And so initially we said to them, okay, well, we can take your overflow and excess capacity and help us understand all of some of the nuances that to your business outside of what we generally did. And let's see if we can turn what would normally be a 3 or 4 call conversation into a 1 or 2 call conversation. Let's try and be more efficient about it. And through some discussions with them, we met them face to face. Steve and I actually went up for a visit. We met with them face to face, and what we came back with was a plan. We would augment their staff on a dedicated level to where we would bolster their staff by 25%. So they had approximately 34 agents. We put another 10 agents on top of that. And so adding that on-demand staff immediately reduced their abandonment rate. An abandonment rate being someone calls, they don't get an answer, they decide to hang up before someone in your office or a member of your team picks up the phone. So abandonment rates were somewhere in the neighborhood of 55 to 60%, which means more than half of the people calling in gave up before they actually spoke to a human being.
Wow.
We bolstered their staff with a dedicated team. Their abandonment rate went from 55 to 60%. Immediately within the first week, went down to 20. By week 4, it was down to 12. By week 6, it was down to 3.
Awesome.
Which is staggering. Right? On top of that, we allowed them to focus, since we were answering the phones and assisting their team, we allowed them to focus on product delivery. basically the logistics of now running their business and servicing their customers. Because from the customer service standpoint, at least the communication piece was already taken care of. Coming out of that winter, where we reduced and basically flatlined their abandonment rate, they saw more positive feedback on social media. As we know these days, when a person has a terrible customer service experience, before they come to you directly and let you know, let everyone else that they know be aware of that negative experience and that positive experience, to be sure, as well, right? But there is something about that attention of saying that I'm not particularly happy about something, or that I am happy, that is that definitely people latch on to, and it's something that becomes contagious. So they were able to improve their customer service rankings in terms of where they were on social media. They were able to figure out their logistics, and of course the weather cleared up and things started moving more efficiently. But in truth, we did not stop there. And they were so happy with the results that they got that coming out of the end of that season, we sat down with them and they said, well, you know, this works so well and winter is sure to come again. How about we augment the staff even further? So we went from being 25% of their staff to 50% of their staff.
Wow.
We're currently at that point today, and that has helped in a number of other ways. But one of the things that they were able to do was that they were able to identify low performers on their team and make changes there. And those changes didn't necessarily mean that those folks were separated from the organization or anything like that. That simply meant that they now had the opportunity to go back and maybe retrain or find areas of opportunity where some of that staff could be redeployed for a better use within the organization, right? And what's so excellent about that is that you're not having to rehire. You're not having to go through the expense of interviewing, testing, so on and so forth. You can just reallocate your resources. On top of that, you know, our agents came in and we are half the team now. And I can tell you that our agents actually rank in the top 3 slots consistently every month in terms of key performance indicators for their team. And those performance indicators are things like, you know, how well do you assist customers, your QA, the general compliments that you get. Folks, you know, send in postcards or as we talked about, you know, making their opinion known online, things like that, to how quickly you're answering the phones, right? Not really dilly-dallying on and letting that phone ring, how attentive you are to customers, how easily you can answer questions, all the way up to how can you help us upsell our products? If someone is calling in and they're looking for a particular product and there's an opportunity for an upsell there, can you help us with that? And our agents are consistently in the top 3 and really even in the top 10. We make up half of their team, and our agents have actually taken 10 of the top 15 slots. So when you think about the numbers, basically the lion's share of our staff is at the top of their stack ranking, which for us is incredibly gratifying because we have been able to help them redefine how they train, redefine the customer service experience. As I said, redeploy staff in areas where they're better suited. And, you know, an added benefit to that is, and we're in strange times now, you know, 3-4 months ago, you know, COVID came up to the extent where folks were on lockdown. The New York State, you know, they gradually ramped it up, but folks weren't going anywhere. And it was difficult to get folks in the office. And even now, as people are going back to the office in several different states, you're having to stagger staff if you have buildings that have a large capacity, right? But with our team assisting and our team being virtual, that transition was completely smooth and transparent to the customer, transparent to the folks calling in. There was no question about, do I have access to the same tools I had before?
Yeah.
My team has always had access to those tools because we've always connected virtually. The idea of, do I have the amount of staff that I need today coming into the office? Non-existent again. And again, we are able to be there when our clients are not, offer that level of augmentation when they need it, that on-demand, that surge staffing. We have it, and we have that capability. And the confidence level is there. There's no worry about whether or not the systems that we use are safe or secure. We run a completely PCI compliant environment, which means that we are certified and tested by the same credit card companies that you take, your Visa, your MasterCard, your Amex. They have taken a look at our systems, how we store data, how we work with data, how we work with credit card information, how we work with what really is most valuable, the customer's information, and how that's stored, and make sure that that's stored safely and securely, and make sure it's transmitted safely and securely, so that businesses can have confidence, so that customers can have confidence giving their information over the phone. All of those things that we have worked to bring to bear. And I would say in closing, that really just brings us back to having the ability to take advantage of all of these technologies without actually having to shell out anything for them is huge, huge.
Agreed. Awesome. Thanks, Ian. So before we go to questions, Steve or Ian, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Steve?
Nothing more to add. Just as anyone's curious how these phones get connected to us, you just remember the way these connections happen is it's done on a time basis. So you could set your phone system to forward over on a time basis.
Okay.
You know, there are people that do it after a certain amount of rings because, you know, somebody could be on the line. So after 3 rings, it comes to us.
Okay.
Other people do it on a busy signal. So there are many ways for phone lines to easily in this day and age be connected to us. So, you know, that's, you know, an everyday telephony technology. So it's a very simple process.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And I would say that, you know, many folks, depending on the size of your business or the size of your organization, you may think, well, you know, a virtual receptionist or using a call center in a certain way, it's just not for me. I could not see myself needing something like that. But in truth, it's a matter of, if you think of yourself as a business, especially if you're a small business, every second that you spend doing something is balanced against your ability to generate revenue, right? As you operate your business. And every missed call is an opportunity at revenue. Every time a staff member is out and you have to reallocate or divert resources to doing the work that they normally do is lost revenue. And so if we can help lift some of that burden from you, whether it be the thing that allows you to spend time with your family, the thing that allows you to turn your phones over to us at 4:30, get on the road and get home to have dinner with your family at a certain time, or go out and, you know, when we get that chance again to enjoy a baseball game with the kids, or go visit a family member, all the way to, if you're a larger business, just simply not necessarily having to have additional folks in the office at a later period. All of those things are, you know, opportunities for you where you're always having this balancing act. And this seems to be, it seems like it's a small thing and something that's not necessary, but it absolutely is, because it allows you to increase your availability, but also regain some of your time.
Absolutely.
Right? And that is so valuable to us, especially now. So if you're a smaller shop and you're thinking, you know, that all sounds great, but that's not for me, that's for the bigger guys, you would be surprised at how much you regain by just giving someone else the opportunity, having someone else answer your phones for you, having someone else answer those basic questions, and assisting your customers, and then getting that information over to you to where the next morning you're reading back your reports on the messages that you've received, and you can decide when you make those callbacks versus playing phone tag with folks or looking down at your phone while you're either watching a movie or, as I said, family time or dinner time, and thinking, I might have to answer that phone because this might be a customer, when you would really want to enjoy that steak that you're having. Those are things that you would be surprised how that changes. It really is transformational. So much so, I use a virtual receptionist. I'm on this webinar right now, and so I am not available. I don't want to miss calls. Steve doesn't want to miss calls.
Sure.
So we practice what we preach. We use our service, and then we can get right back to it. And my phones are normally on. I answer my phones almost 24/7. So being able to turn it on for the 45 minutes to an hour that I'm going to spend with this group, wonderful. And then when I'm done, I take my cell phone back, I unforward my line, and I'm good to go.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Desirae, I'd like to ask a question. I was going to follow up, and that was exactly along those lines. I mean, if you start as little as $3 a day, if any professional was to take their wages and say, how much time do I really have to save to get to $3? Can I not, how much is actually talking to people on the phone actually take of my day? So, I mean, when you look at those aspects, so to expand on that a little bit, obviously you covered it, Steve, with it's about getting the call forwarded to you and from my phone system forward to you so that you can answer it. How does the information come back? And I'm sure there's multiple ways, but let's focus on smaller businesses because most of our group tend to be people who are, sales professionals, smaller business people in those aspects. Is it a platform that you have where the information comes back, or how does the information come back to the user?
So, there's many ways. Ian, please interrupt me if I left some stuff out, but, there's many ways we deliver messages back, and it's really what works best for the client. But for example, when a call comes in, people can get an immediate text message, email, but that's not good enough because people could not hear it or it might not go through. So, most calls are followed up with a phone call to make sure they got it. We allow them to respond back by text or email. So if they respond back, we know we didn't get it. We also have an online portal where people can come and look at their messages. It's nice on that online portal. You could actually separate things by reports, download stuff by Excel reports. So you can reasons for call and good stuff like that. Maybe Ian, you can get into what, maybe the dispatching is like, because gets kind of, there's a lot to it, with different territorial dispatching or salesman dispatching. Go ahead.
So it really depends on your business and how you have things set up, or how you'd like to have things set up. Because as Steve said, we really are all about choice. So if you're a single proprietor, it may be just as simple as you like to get text messages. They're quiet, or they can be quiet and not obtrusive. And so you may just get that little chime, or your phone may light up and you look down and you go, oh, I got a call. And from there, you can type back, okay, or got it. And our team sees that you've responded, and we're good. We'll give you a roundup of all of the messages that you've gotten the next morning, but at least we know that if you do want to answer that call, that you absolutely can. Right there, it comes in as a text message, and with most Android and all iPhones now, you just press the button or press the number on the message because it's a link, and you can dial straight from there and get back to your client. You read your message, you dial it, and if it's a sales opportunity, excellent. If it's someone else taking advantage of a sales opportunity and they're trying to sell you something, you can decide, well, that's not for me, and move on. It can, some folks are, back in the old days, everyone loved a BlackBerry. If you're an email junkie, then it can come to you via email, and we format it specifically where We can tell you the specific type of message up top in the subject line. So if it's a sales call, it can be there. If it's a customer service inquiry, things like that. If someone's calling for pricing, so on and so forth, that can be in the subject line. So again, you don't have to read the entire thing. You don't have to go through a huge message. You have an idea of what it is just by taking a glance, which I can tell you works for me all of the time, especially as my wife asked me to watch Hamilton for the 4th or 5th time. Something comes in, I just take a glance. I know if it's Steve calling or a customer or something else. If it's important, I can sneak away. If it's not important, I can pretend it never happened, and I can go back to, listening to music for the 40th time. So there's a ton of possibility. And then as Steve mentioned with the web portal, if you're that type of person that you have to go check yourself because you don't believe that your phone is working, you don't believe that your text messages are coming through, you can just log into the online portal. You see the messages that we have taken for you or your team in real time. And you can decide what you want to do with them there. If you have a small group of people and you're looking at distributing those messages, you can do that yourself. We can do that for you. We can even, if you've got a partner, if you've got a couple of folks working underneath you, we can send a text message to them to let them know that a customer has an inquiry. Simultaneously send a message to you to let you know that we have informed your employee. And then we can send another message back to you when your employee has confirmed receipt of that message. We also have a system to where if you have decided, well, there's sometimes I may blow you off, or there's sometimes, quite frankly, for an elevator service guy, I'm in an elevator pit. And so text messages are just not coming through with any consistency while I'm down or up there, right? We have a system to where you set the specific time period, whether it be 5 minutes, whether it be 10 minutes. But our agent, our dispatcher will call up, they'll call you and they'll just say, I just wanted to make sure that you got the message from, and we'll relay that info to you. You can either then say, oh, I didn't check my text, I didn't see, or what have you. But we'll find you. It's one thing. If you want us to deliver that message, we're not like the mailman that only goes to the mailbox. We're the mailman who goes to the mailbox, but then also goes up to the front door, but then also knocks on the door. We'll probably feed your cat as well, but we'll make sure that you get that message. And you can set levels of escalation and so on. Really, we can make it as simple or as complex as you need, because ultimately we know that your goal is to serve the client. And so we make sure that you can execute on that goal. And it's really easy to turn on and turn off as well, because again, there's some times where you just might want to finish watching Hamilton.
Well, I love it. And I love what you said. And I think you highlighted it with the people aspect and how, in particularly, the technology is important and everyone needs the technology. But as we move into the digital world, people are trusting technology less and less, right, especially if this is the top of your sales funnel. So if you can actually differentiate yourself on the top of the sales funnel by having all over your website, call this number, and a live person picks up within minutes, you've already just stopped people from going everywhere else. They're going to talk, and they're going to go in and they're going to talk to that person. And again, if all that person's job is to smile and answer the phones, where, if you're in sales or anything, you might have 6 other things you're doing as that phone is ringing, where you're not really putting the A game on. I mean, it's a no-brainer for me, as far as where it works. That's why I was so excited that we were able to have you guys on to talk about this, because I think you're a hidden gem that, people, when they really realize it and start using it, not that you're hidden, you have a lot of clients, but I mean, from other people using it, I mean, I can see that this is a real value tool, and I just appreciate Desirae for the introduction and the information that you've shared. I don't have any other questions. I didn't see any others. But mostly it was just about the technology aspect. And then you mentioned the pricing starts as little as $3, and I know it scales and it's 100% customized. Is there anything else you want to highlight on packages for sizes or anything from that? nature, just to give people a little bit of flavor. And then finally, let's make sure that there's a good way for people to contact you.
Yeah, so if you have not used a service before, have not thought about it, and you're concerned about pricing and how that scales out, I think one of the things that that you want to look at, and Dennis mentioned this earlier when he used the salesman's example, right? For $3 a day, like how quickly will you burn through that on your own time? And that's really what you're looking at. How much can we take off of your plate and do that particularly well, because that is our specialty. This is what we are experts in, which then allows you to go out and generate further revenue for your organization and so on and so forth, right? There's definitely, when you do the cost benefit analysis, we try to tip the scales into the point of it being a no-brainer, basically. But there's so many other ancillary benefits that come along with it, just again, in the not having the headaches of actually having to staff or having to staff up, especially if you're in a seasonal business, staff up and then staff down. This is something that, again, on demand allows you to scale and so on. And as I mentioned before, you're working, or we're working and we're partnering with you in what we call a shared environment, which means that you're able to, along with all of our other clients, leverage the technology, the know-how that we have. It behooves us to have you on as a client, but we're not really interested in telling you that you always have to go for the highest level plan that we have. We're not interested in enforcing you or pigeonholing you into something. We create a level of customization because we want something that works for you. Our agents are there whether your phone rings or it doesn't ring, because we have so many other clients. It's another opportunity to take advantage of something that has scaled and get in on it and leverage what the capabilities that we have, take advantage of the capabilities that we have, and allow that to springboard your business. And if you have a larger team and a larger scale, again, we have a staff that's there able to assist, and we can put our resources wherever we need to at any given time. And I really do think that from that perspective, it's a compelling case for looking at it for your business.
Ian, one question is, do you have to commit to a certain length of time?
No.
When you sign on? You don't? Okay. So it's kind of as you go, like month by month?
Yeah, and we recognize that, right? Our goal is to give you as much flexibility as possible, especially if you have not used an answering service before or a virtual receptionist before. We're more than willing to work with you on what to expect, how you can try it out, how long you'd like to work with us. Again, what hours during the day you might want to work with us. We consider every partner, every customer that joins our family as a long-term relationship, and we will grow with you. We want you to be successful because we see that as an avenue for our success. And as Steve has said previously, we've gotten so many referrals. So much of our customer base has come through our current customers,
okay.
That we think that's the way that we grow. It's that level of organic growth. And we're really just mirroring what many small businesses survive on, right? Sure. It really is all about that word of mouth. And that's powerful. And we understand we represent you, and we're going to do that in the best possible way.
Awesome. And Dennis, I know we're out of time. I just have one quick question.
Sure, no problem. And I just want to apologize real quick. I know this service is wonderful for older people. I mean, as far as working with that, and you might have noticed my father was here and he just couldn't get it and walked right into the webinar. So picking up the phone and dealing with older personnel, I know is the most valuable resource for this. They just don't get it. So I apologize.
Love it.
Sticking their face in. So go ahead, ask your final question.
Okay, final question. Sorry, I know time is running out. Do you guys take anything other than calls? Like, what if people have emails or text messages come in from customer service for customers, or from customers, I'm sorry. Do you do anything other than calls?
The short answer is yes. We do email, we do customer support, we can do some level of web interaction. We try our best, depending on the size and scale of the customer, and of course what you're trying to accomplish, see if we can put together an all-in-one package for you. We're in the communications business.
Sure.
And as such, if it's communicating with your customers, as if it's performing certain customer service work, believe me, we've got creative answers to any of those questions.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
It's very helpful. I look forward to, freeing up some of my time by using your service.
We really appreciate your time and listening to our story. I really do. And, we don't consider our customers, we consider them partners. And that's how we view it. We get that answering people's phones is a very sensitive topic. So we really, really, really consider you guys partners, not customers.
And how can you be contacted, Steve?
www.insta-answer.com. And it's the best way to reach me.
And on social media, you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Sure.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. Again, this will all be available on Relax Team's website. We'll have all your contact information and all that information right there for them. So if you're seeing this on YouTube or however you're seeing this, whatever channel you get to this, feel free to reach out. Wonderful service. And thank you guys so much for all the information.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Enjoy. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.